Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. We join you today from the Oklahoma Youth Expo, where it's been an exciting week of preparation and competition for young people from around our state. We begin this week talking about the new Farm Bill. Sunup's Dave Deacon sat down with Congressman Frank Lucas, chairman of the House Ag Committee, in his office in Washington, D.C.
It has been 8 years since the last Farm Bill left Capitol Hill. The 2014 Farm Bill took a little bit different approach.
Because this bill is predicated on choices. You get to pick what's appropriate for your farm, your ranch, for you. The old direct payments, for instance, in the commodity title, go away. We replace it with an insurance type system that addresses both drought, weather, and addresses markets, price failures. You've got to make a decision. Do you want to go the crop revenue program, ARC, which will probably be very popular in the Midwest amongst corn and bean farmers? Or do you want to look at the PLC, the price protection program as I call it, which will be, I think, very popular among wheat farmers in our region. It'll be popular among peanut producers and rice producers and a whole bunch of other people, but you've got to make a decision. And that decision you make will last for the 5-year life of the Farm Bill. So you need to have as many facts, you need to think about this before you do it.
Even when it comes to the pace of Congress, this bill took the long route.
From the first hearing until the signing of the bill was about a 4-year period. We began the legislative process, actually in committee, crafting the new Farm Bill essentially 2.5 years ago. So this has been discussed and ground on and looked at and battled over and fought over. That's a good thing. Sometimes legislation that's done in a hurry looks like it's done in a hurry and requires a never-ending stream of fixes, corrections, and adjustments. Now, that's not to say this legislation is perfect, because after all, even the Constitution has been amended a good many times, so nothing's perfect. But I think we've got a good workable piece of legislation.
All of that while trying to weave its way through the legislative branch in a tighter economy.
This was a tough Farm Bill to write, because we had to spend dramatically less money for the next 5 years than we did comparably to the last 5-year Farm Bill. We did that, $23 billion less. And we had to make savings in all commodity groups, or sorry, I should say all regions, all sections of the Farm Bill. We weren't just going to pick on farmers. Everybody needed to help achieve savings, a part of addressing the national debt and the annual deficit. And we did that. The choices that are in there were designed so as to give producers a stronger safety net. There were those I served with who wanted to say, well, let's just let everybody be a part of everything. Well, it's just like everything else in life. If you're automatically a part of everything, then that means the value of what you get is going to be less. And by making choices, your safety net will be more robust, be stronger, be better for you in the future. I would just say this, it is a dramatic change in many areas, and I understand it, including dairy policy. But good men and women in the House and the Senate, with input from folks all over this country, tried very hard with the resources that were available to us to craft the strongest possible safety net. I believe that will be the case, and I think producers, once they've thought through the final rules and regulations, will be able to make good, solid decisions. They'll do the right thing and be able to work with that over the course of the next 5 years. But man, it shouldn't have been this hard to pass a bill to make sure we had the ability to raise enough food to feed ourselves. It shouldn't have been this hard.
With so many new faces in Congress, it took a little time to educate the new members about the potential Farm Bill.
When we got ready to count heads, to do a whip check, so to speak, to bring the Farm Bill to the floor in the summer of 13, it dawned on me that almost half the body hadn't been around for the '08 Farm Bill. They'd not been there for the debates, the amendment discussion, the votes. They'd not been members of Congress to listen to what their constituents had to say, both good and bad, after the previous Farm Bill, I should say, was passed. That reinventing the wheel is a challenge. And whether it is life at the dinner table, or life in the family business, or life on the family farm, even in Congress, it matters knowing why we got to this point. Having been there to experience both what didn't work and should be avoided, and what did work and should be reinforced and continued. Experience matters. When I was a teenager, I might have thought differently, but you know, both my grandfathers and my father have now passed away, I've come to realize they were pretty wisdom-filled old gentlemen, all of them.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Dave Deacon.